Have you ever wondered how Agile teams estimate the size of their work? I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of estimation using the Fibonacci scale. The Fibonacci sequence starts with 0 and 1, and each subsequent number is the sum of the previous two, so the scale ends up being 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and so on. Using a scale like Fibonacci allows you to estimate the size of something relative to something else, instead of using absolute values such as hours or days. To start your estimation, pick a simple story that will sit at the 2 mark on your Fibonacci scale. Something like, as a user, I want to be able to reset my password if I forget it so that I can regain access to my account. Anything that comes along that's then simpler than the 2-point story can then be assigned the 1-point value on the Fibonacci scale, such as a user, I want the option to stay logged in so that I don't have to enter my credentials every single time. Likewise, anything that comes along that's more complex than your 2-point story can then sit higher on the Fibonacci scale, such as maybe a 3-point story. An example being, as an avid reader, I want to receive personalized book recommendations based on my reading history so that I can discover new books that align with my interests. Fibonacci scale for estimation is quite hard to get your head around at first because people naturally default to estimating in hours and days and how long is this going to take. And without that certainty, they get uncomfortable. But what this allows you to do is provide more accurate estimates over time and start to forecast a project based upon how much work your team is able to take into a given sprint or complete over a given period of time. Using Fibonacci ultimately improves team participation because your team feel like they're actively contributing to how a project looks and how it's forecast rather than being told by a project manager this is how long you have to do something. Using Fibonacci makes your estimates more realistic because your team's performance becomes more predictable over time. So if you can achieve 20 points in the first sprint, you might then assume you can achieve 20 points in the second sprint and so on, because over time your estimates become more accurate because you become better at estimating and understanding the scope of your work. Ultimately, it's not an easy thing for your team to get their head around, so all I can say is give it a go, start using Fibonacci in your Agile estimations and see what kind of difference it makes.